I'm Branch Warren, IFBB Pro bodybuilder and GASP athlete. Welcome to my home. This is my trophy room. Pretty much all the trophies I won through my 25-year career are here around me in this room.
Branch Warren was at a local gym trying to beef up for high school football when national level heavyweight Mark Hanlon spotted his potential. Before he knew it was happening, the 16-year-old had won his first contest and became teenage Mr. Texas. Branch gave up his varsity position on the football team and put all his energy into training.
This was a 1992 Arnold Classic down in Houston, Texas. I was 17, 18 years old. And in that show, I won the teenage class, the novice class, and the open class. When I first started working out, I did it for football. I grew up in a little small town in West Texas, and we moved to the Fort Worth area when I was in high school, but I'd never seen a real bodybuilder, so I used to sneak in this neighborhood gym. I didn't have money to buy a membership, so I'd sneak, my friend would open the back door, we'd slip in, I'd work out, and that's where I met the first real bodybuilder. He's a huge guy, about 280 pounds, and he kind of took me under his wing, showed me how to train, and suggested, hey, after I was 14, 15, so by the time I was 16, he said, hey, you ever think about competing? And he took me to a show, I checked it out, and I was like, yeah, I could do that. So that's when he took me to Metroflex, and I trained all summer at Metroflex and won that contest, and the rest is history.
When the overall pose down began, it was clear that it had come down to who had done their homework. The only competitor with the size, shape, and cuts the judges were looking for was light heavyweight Branch Warren. At just 18 years old, he has plenty of time to plot his next move. And remember, when it comes to competitive bodybuilding, the teenage stars of today are the superstars of tomorrow.
All these teenage nationals, 1993, light heavyweight overall winner, USA heavyweights, got third that year, won the light heavyweights in the overall. At the men's Lone Star at 94, at 19, so that was like the big show in Texas back then. And at that point, I'd beaten everybody at Metroflex except for Ronnie and this guy Mark, who got me into training. So I earned my respect that year. Then we got NPC Nationals, this trophy back here in the back that all the medals are hanging from. That's when I won my class at the Nationals. That earned my pro card for me. So when I turned pro, you separate yourself from everyone else. And now that dream I always had of being a pro bodybuilder, now guess what? I get to live it. My first pro victory, and it was from my hometown crowd here in Dallas. So it was the Dallas Europa, and back in 2005. So that was my first, what turned out to be first of many victories. A week later, I went to Charlotte and followed up with my second victory. This wasn't actually a trophy. I got it in Scotland though. I went there to guest pose, and they were giving out these things to the winners. I remember I said something to the promoter, and he had me back the next year, and I brought my wife, and I guest posed, and they presented this to me on stage. I'm sure you guys have probably watched the movie Braveheart and William Wallace. Well, apparently there's a guy there in Scotland who still makes swords, really makes them the old-fashioned way, hammers them out. He made a replica of William Wallace's sword. So I'm 5'7", and you can get an idea of how big this thing is. So apparently William Wallace was a giant of a man. This was second place, 2009 Mr. Olympia. This was third place, 2010 Olympia. I never took time to really enjoy the victories or think about the accomplishments. I mean, it wasn't until recently I could look at pictures of myself and be like, wow, man, I look pretty good. When I was competing, I would look at pictures, from stage or while I was prepping, progress pics, and I just get irritated. And I just rip myself apart. But that's what kept me going. I think if I would ever got up and looked like, damn, man, I look good, then my whole motivation for going to the gym and training so hard, and being so strict on my diet, would have been out the window. This was my third victory, New York Pro, first place. This was IFBB Europa. This was another Dallas Europa victory.
He has become one of the world's very best bodybuilders, as Lonnie Keeper just mentioned, on the brink of a Sandow Trophy 2 years ago when he lost to Jay Cutler, and he's here in Columbus after earning many Most Muscular awards, trying to win himself an Arnold Classic trophy and the $130,000 check that goes with it. And Lee, I got to tell you, it looks like Branch Warren is very much on track to do that.
Yeah, I think he's even harder than this morning, and certainly, as you said, he is in the lead.
People ask what was the most important victory to me. the 2011 Arnold Classic. It's the 23rd Arnold. I won it. That was a big one to me because I told myself when I was 18 years old I want to win the Arnold Classic. Fast forward several years and I finally made that dream come through. Through a lot of hard work and consistency and determination. So I followed that up the next year, in 2012, with another victory at the Arnold. This was a big one because winning it the first time is hard. Doing it a second time in a row is even harder. Couple of the fact, well, I tore my quad off the bone 6.5 months before this show. I had to have surgery, have it reattached. You know, pretty much everyone told me I was done. I don't think anybody had ever come back from a quad injury like that successfully before. So, and I was gonna try to do it in 6.5 months. So pretty much everybody told me I was crazy, but I had the last laugh. Thanks for watching, guys. This is my trophy room. Be sure and subscribe below.